Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here with you, as always, bringing you the latest entertainment in music, film, wellness, and even mindset that I cover sometimes. And I think today we're going to cover a little bit of all of it in a networking episode, which I've done a couple of networking episodes before, but recently I've been to a lot of networking events, and it's been really enlightening what I've run into at these events, and it made me appreciate the events more in a different fashion. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I realized it's not about just being in the room meeting people. It's about what you present. It's about so much more. And we're going to cover it here. I have some stuff I'm going to read. I'm going to talk a little bit. If anybody's out there, ask me questions, please. I'd love to answer whatever I can, whatever I know. I don't know everything, obviously, but I've made enough mistakes in my life that I feel I'm valuable to help people. All right, morning coffee sip. And now let's get started here. So, networking has always been more about collecting business cards or adding people on LinkedIn or even having a long list of contacts in your phone. To me, and this is something that's really, really meaningful to me. To me, real networking is about building genuine relationships with people and making a lasting impression. You want people to remember who you are, what you stand for, what you bring to the table, and most importantly, how you made them feel when they interacted with you. In the entertainment industry, relationships, especially, can open doors, but authenticity is what keeps those relationships uh, alive. And in entertainment, that's definitely the case because people are dealing with a lot of emotions when you're in this business, right? Because you're dealing with a lot of rejection, you're dealing with a lot of uncertainty, you're dealing with a lot of characters that may not be the best personalities. Sometimes you have to work with people that are just been in the business a long time and have been jaded, and maybe they're not the happiest people to be around, unfortunately for them and those that are around them. And so, but when you meet someone and when you get through all the mucky muck and you finally meet an individual that actually has that connection and has that understanding and really feels that they can connect with you, it's valuable. It's so valuable. And when you go into it with the idea of that you're going to help, you're going to help someone rather than like, what can I get from this person? What can I get from this event? I think that's a big, big factor. And that's something that, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get to that mindset, because when you first go to a networking event, you want to network, you want to see who you can gel with. And of course, there's the underlining understanding that you want to have a business and that you have a business and you want to meet people and you want to kind of get in there. But at the same time, you really want to go in there to help people. And that's a major, major difference, I should say, in how the approach is, right? So I've learned that you don't have to walk into a room looking for what someone can do for you. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can do is simply have a conversation. Listen to someone's story, find common ground, and see how you might be able to help them. When you approach people with that mindset, networking stops feeling like work. It becomes about people. And when you consistently show up, support others, introduce people to each other, and follow through on your word, you begin to develop a reputation that works for you, even when you're not in the room. And that's a big thing. You ever get that? Like you're sitting at home and somebody says, "Hey, I need you." Just had happened to me the other day. He said, "Hey, I think you should connect with this person. They do this, they do that, and this is and they and kind of the same thing you guys do, and maybe there's something there, right?" So reached out to them. We're having coffee on Friday, And that's how that works, and somebody just thought of it in their universe. I hadn't seen them in a couple of weeks. I hadn't even talked to them in even longer than that, I think it was longer than that, actually. About a month ago, spoke to this person, but something in them stayed. I must have said something or did something, and they thought it was enough that they would introduce me to somebody they know. So it means that they trust enough to introduce me. They have confidence in what I'm going to say, that I'm going to represent them well because they're making the introduction. You want to, when you get introduced to someone, by someone, you want to go in with a lot of respect for the person that introduced you. You want to make sure that this person that's now in front of you is feeling like, I'm so glad that I was introduced to this person because, they are what my friend said they are, and the connection makes sense. That's the key thing. Like sometimes, making introductions is a very, very, it's sort of like when you hire someone or when you recommend someone for a job, right? And they call you up and say, "Will you give me a recommendation for this job?" And you're like, "Yeah." Well, you don't want to recommend someone that you're like, "Yeah, I like you as a friend. You're a good person. You're good at heart, but I've worked with you and you're not a good worker." If you have that in your universe, well, how comfortable are you to introduce them for a job and to call up and be like, "Hey, you should hire this person." Because then when they hire them, they're gonna be like, "What the hell is that all about?" And it's not gonna be the right individual. So very, very important to, integrity wise, very, very important. So that's what I believe. That's where I believe the idea of who becomes so important. You can know hundreds of people, but if nobody really knows you or remembers you, those connections don't mean much. You want to become the person someone thinks of when an opportunity comes up. Maybe it's a musician looking for a manager. Maybe it's a filmmaker looking for someone to promote a project, a company looking for a marketing professional, or an entrepreneur looking for someone they can trust. Your reputation, my reputation, becomes your calling card. And every interaction you have is another opportunity to build it. This is a key thing, right? Because you may have other elements. So when I'm a filmmaker, right? I'm a musician, and I have a talent agency. I do this show. I've interviewed hundreds of people, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame people. I've interviewed a lot of great, legendary people, right? And one of the things that I'm always careful of is to not promote myself as a guy who's going to, all those interviews that I've done. Well, I'm not, I can introduce depending on what the situation is, but I can't just, those reputation, I have a reputation and they have their work, their integrity, and I have to respect those introductions, right? So all the people that I've met, I have to make sure that when I introduce them to this person, it's got to be, I have to feel very, very confident in the same way that when someone introduces me, I want them to have the confidence in me. So if it's for a film project, if they want me to direct something, if they want me to go in and work with a marketing professional on a social media campaign that they want to put together, or a video content that they want to kind of structure and put together, a storytelling opportunity. If they want to sit down and so I can help them build out their story of their company and show them how to promote it via the social media channels and via video content. That's a gig, right? So these are all different things that I can do, and when you can portray that in a conversation in a networking event fairly quickly, right? And just give them that opportunity and then start listening to what they have and then start thinking in your with your data banks and start thinking, okay, do I know anybody that works in that area? Oh yeah, I do know somebody. I can introduce you to this person. They work in that area. Or if they need clients, right? They need people. Oh yeah, let's see who needs insurance. Who needs? You know what? I'm not really sure, but why don't you send me your information and I'll post it out on my social media, and I'll give you a network. I have a lot of people on my LinkedIn account. Maybe I can help with that, right? These things are really, really important, to go in with that mindset. Another thing that happens, and this is something that I just thought about right this second on the fly, is that when you're in these events, they can be a little overwhelming, right? And for me personally, I've had my moments of being introverted. I'm short, and I dress, I mean, I dress the way I dress. I don't necessarily dress for the occasion necessarily. I'm not really big on having to wear things. I like to wear whatever I like to wear. It's just always been something. So, I could be a little intimidating. I mean, intimidated by people, and I could feel intimidated, and I think one of the things that I would do is, as soon as I get there, I take a deep breath. I make sure that I'm in the moment. I make sure that I'm in the present time. And I also, when I go into the room, I look around the room at the walls and see how big the room is. This is it's called a locational, and you bring yourself back into the environment. You kind of give yourself a sense of where you are. Where are the fire exits? Where are the people gathering? Is there food? Is there, you look around, give yourself literally 20 seconds smiling, looking around, making sure you know where everything is, and giving you that idea of like, okay, I know the space now. I know where it is. I know where I can gravitate to. I know where the food is in case there's a lull or something and I'm just roaming around by myself. I can go to the food place and kind of just maybe make my, get a some water or something. I think it's a very, very important thing that I don't think people really talk about a lot, is getting yourself in the environment relaxed. And by giving yourself a location on being in the present moment, it's very, very key thing. So anyway, just a little something there that I want to throw out, um, to help. So ultimately, successful networking isn't about chasing opportunities. It's about building relationships strong enough that opportunities naturally find their way back to you. Be dependable, be curious, be willing to introduce people, share opportunities, and celebrate other people's successes. Don't just ask, what can this person do for me? Ask, what can I bring to this relationship? Because at the end of the day, it's not simply about who you know, it's about who knows you, what they know about you, and whether enough they can trust you enough to put your name in the room when you're not there. That's the key thing, right? To have individuals that you meet in a networking event remember you enough that when you're not in the room, they think and they say, hey, you should meet this person. This person might be able to help you, right? Getting that, and you don't have a lot of time, and you have a lot of people you want to talk to, but you don't want to be disrespectful. And I'll tell you what, sometimes you meet someone and you're just like, this is the person. I want to meet this person. They have a fascinating story. Maybe I want to interview them. I have a couple of people recently that I met that have tremendous life stories. And I would love to sit down and have a conversation with them like this. I think it's an important thing. So there's all this different energies in the room. There's all this different opportunities that you can really get to understand that these stories should be told. That's for me. And at the same time, you're seeing what they do. Maybe you can connect them with someone. As you're doing that, and you'd be shocked at how people remember you, because they see you being that guy that's connecting people and being interested in what they're doing and asking questions about what they're doing, and being very connected to the moment, with respect to what they do and wanting to actually help them. They feel that, and that sticks with people. Remember, I always talk about Maya Angelou and her quote, right? Where she said, people don't remember what you did or what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And if they can remember you and say, "Oh, that person made me feel good. It made me feel like I could introduce them to anyone," and have the confidence that they're going to go into that conversation and represent this introduction with integrity, with confidence, and with a help flow that they can be confident enough. That's a really important thing. And if you can hone your pitch to a short enough time where you can give exactly what I have a couple of different pitches that I have where I can tell people exactly what I do, who I am, what I've done in a very short amount of time, sometimes under 60 seconds. And then from there I can start asking questions and learning about them. They already have enough information about me. If they get more interested in what I've said, they could ask me more about that, and then I can give them a little bit more about that, and then I can ask somebody. It gets the conversation really at a good point where they can confidently feel they can have a conversation with me. They sort of know me in a short amount of time. I'm not intimidating, right? Like I said before, I'm a short Puerto Rican guy. I dress, I'll dress nice. Obviously, I don't dress inappropriately, but I'm not going to wear a suit. I don't wear a shirt and tie, although I like suits. I have a couple of suits, and sometimes when the weather gets, a little cooler, I might actually throw on a suit if I feel like it. I haven't felt like it in quite a long time, but who knows, what the future holds. Um, but it's one of those things where I feel very confident walking up to people, no matter if they're. So I met a guy who was 6'4". This guy, and he was awesome. He was a great, great character, and we had a wonderful conversation and talked about ASCAP, actually, the music publishing house, and we had a great conversation. So I think it's important to really get those little tools. Get your pitch, know what you're going to say when you meet someone. Have a longer pitch, have a shorter pitch, have a very quick pitch, have a one sentence pitch if you can actually get it down. People say, what do you do? I'm a filmmaker and I host an online talk show, you know, um, live stream. I've been doing that for about 7 years. Wow, wow. Okay, great. Boom, they got it. Filmmaker, live stream host. Then later on comes up, yeah, I'm also a musician and have a talent agency. And you can go into more stuff. But also the conversation sometimes a little bit different. Somebody who's oh yeah, I work with artists, right? Well, I'm not gonna say I'm a filmmaker and a host. I'm gonna say, oh great, I'm a filmmaker and I also have a talent agency. See, now I have that in connection. Somebody says I'm an actor. Oh, great. I'm a filmmaker. Oh, great. Somebody says I'm a musician. They're a musician or they manage me. Oh, yeah, I'm a musician and I have a talent agency where I manage some artists. I have one artist where I manage one artist. Well, all these things, are on the fly. You got to think quick. This is why it's so important to be in the moment. Stay present because man, that'll kill you. It's not, and it's happened to me so many times that I feel like I'm on that ride home, and I'm just like, why I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I say that, or why didn't I go into this conversation, or why didn't I stay longer talking to that person instead of going to talk to someone else? You start thinking about those things. So the more you can stay in the present moment, the more you will really, really benefit and the person that you're talking to will benefit. You really build something, but you got to be in the moment. You got to listen. You got to hear what they're saying because I've spoken to people where I know they're ready to say the next thing already. No matter what I say, they're not there. They're in their own, they have their own script in their head that they feel they have to get to. And so they're not really representing themselves well. They're kind of on this automaticity kind of a thing. It's automatic. They're not even thinking about what you're saying. And that's a conversation that's really lost. It's never a good conversation. You never feel like you benefit anything from anyone that's like that. And you definitely can't help anybody like that because I don't feel comfortable introducing someone who really didn't feel like they were there when I was talking to them. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be a good conversation. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this helps with networking. Please, if you have any questions, like I said, you can always message me. You can email me at johnhenrysoto@gmail.com. You can visit my website, johnhenrysoto.com, and you can see all my latest episodes of this show. You can connect with me there. All my contact information is there. If you have any questions, you can watch my films on there. It's a lot of great information. My talent agency, if you're an artist and you're looking for representation, if you're a company looking for a storyteller to help you with your social media content and video content, reach out to me. All the information is there. All right, friends. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all very, very much. I appreciate anybody. If you stay here just for like 10 seconds, it means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day out there. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you all. And as always, peace.